all right. Good evening. Welcome to the True Love Movement. I'm your host, Brother Shaq.
And Mama Fiyah.
We'd like to welcome everyone this lovely, lovely October 29th, Saturday here in New Orleans.
We have been having some lovely days.
Oh, yeah.
It's been very nice.
Good to be back here in the studio live, too, after a couple of weeks.
Yes.
I miss our WBOK family.
That's right.
Right on.
Miss being in the booth, on the mics live like this.
Yes.
Uplifting and empowering our people with our messages, True Love Movement messages.
Right on.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And last week, Mama Fiyah, we were at the awards, the NOLA Music Awards. Huh?
Show enough.
What? Wasn't that something, huh?
That was something. That was really something. But I want to say that we are honored to have been nominated amongst our comrades, for real.
Strong category.
People that we love and work with on a regular. Shout out to B Mike.
That's right.
I had the week before, or that week, I had actually had a chance to go to Studio B for the first time.
All right. Yeah.
I had seen so many beautiful things about it, and Amaru had a field trip over there, and I was able to go and attend the field trip with my youth.
Yes.
And the youth of Amaru, and so I got a chance to really see the brothers' work. And of course, we saw it before on murals around the city. But the message, we just talked about message, but the message throughout the whole Studio B is very powerful. And so I'm proud of the brother, and congratulations on the award. He was able to get that award, but it's really all the same thing.
Yeah.
Uplifting and empowering each other. He's choosing to use it through visual arts and media. So shout out to the brother for his great work.
Right on. And everybody in the category, Mama C Freedom,
Mama C Freedom, Brother Roll. And so these are heavy hitters here in the community, and we all work together, which is so beautiful. Same mission. That's the point. Same mission. Mm-hmm. So it was nice to be recognized, Brother Shaq.
Indeed, I liked it. It felt good being there with you on the red carpet.
Yeah, we had a good time together. It had been a while since we've done anything like that. So.
Yeah, man, that was live. And so we appreciate everybody tuning in. We're on Facebook Live, also on the True Love Movement page.
That's right.
Again, we're on the True Love Movement page. All you got to do is go to the True Love Movement page on Facebook and like it and tune in. Also on Instagram. The link to the live feed is actually in the bio, so we made it very, very easy and very simple by putting it on the True Love Movement page. We know you already like it, you're already there, so you can catch us, you can get the look, and of course you get your listen on WBOK 12:30 a.m. Real Talk in Real Times. There's the online, WBOK1230am.com, in the Listen Now section, and there's a WBOK 12:30 a.m. app for iPhone and Android and all other users. Lots of different ways to connect, man. So we give thanks, and we do appreciate everybody tuning in. There's so many things you could be doing in this hour.
It's a beautiful day.
And it's beautiful outside.
It's beautiful outside, and so if you ain't riding with the radio on, at least be getting outside and feeling this breeze, and let the sun uplift and empower your melanin, brother and sister. Get that vitamin D popping.
Right on.
It heals us. It lifts our spirits just naturally. The sunshine. So, also, Facebook Live. For my people on Facebook Live, give us a thumbs up if you like this to continue on Facebook Live every week.
Right.
And we're coming from the True Love Movement page, and that link is www.facebook.com/True Love Movement 100.
100.
Just keep it 100 for the show.
Right on.
There's a lot of True Love movements. If there's some people that I don't know. I remember us being the first many years ago, but a lot have popped up, and there's True Love Weights and True Love this and that. Don't get it twisted and don't get it confused. True Love Movement keeps it 100 for the uplifting and empowerment of black people, period.
Yes.
Okay?
Indeed, that's important.
So let's keep that together. Let's understand that.
Right on. Right on.
So, yeah.
We got a jam-packed show in a timely topic, Mama Fiyah. I know we've been talking over several topics off air over the last few weeks. And this is one I think in this particular political environment, election cycle, and all of those things, I think a topic like this is right on time. Um, and so without any further ado, because there is a lot to cover in this series, we're going to get right off into today's topic, which is Big Pimpin', Poverty Pimps in America. Again, that topic is Big Pimpin', Poverty Pimps in America. That's heavy right there, just on the titling of that thing. I'm talking about
Big Pimpin'.
Big Pimpin'. So like, what is a pimp? Because I know our people, we always talking about pimping, and I'm a pimp, you dig?
I mean, we gravitate toward, come on. And I heard that too much, the brothers calling themselves pimps, even sisters calling themselves pimps.
Right.
Let's find out what that means.
Well, pimp, by definition, and this is in Webster's definition, I mean, since we are here in America, we might as well use that definition because this isn't our language. But a pimp is defined as a criminal who is associated with, usually, extorts control over, and lives off the earnings of one or more prostitutes. Now, that's what a pimp is. A pimp is a criminal, means they're breaking laws doing this, who is associated with, usually exerts control over, and lives off the earnings of one or more prostitutes. By definition, that's what a pimp is. So I know we're calling ourselves pimps with pride, even sticking our chests out.
Well, black people are.
Yeah, black people are
Right.
calling ourselves pimps, which that's a whole other thing. But and then, so what is a prostitute? That's what pimps, pimps and prostitutes, that goes together. Prostitute is a person. If you got a pimp, you must have a prostitute in there somewhere. Prostitutes defined many ways, but what's most notable is a person who deliberately debases his or her talents as for money. Again, if that is a person, be male or female, in the dictionary they're used as a writer or a painter, interestingly enough, who deliberately debases his or her talents as for money. The word debases means, if you're not familiar with it, just simply means degrades or dishonors or disrespects his or her talents as for money. So, in other words, and when you use it as a verb, to prostitute, to prostitute means to degrade or dishonor. That's what prostitute means, without the obvious explicit sexual connotations, because it can be, that doesn't necessarily have to be the case according to the dictionary definition. So, as far as I can remember, Mama Fiyah, the U.S. government has always pimped. Yes?
Yes. I mean, that's the big pimping we're talking about here.
Right.
We're not, I think sometimes we think small,
Right.
we think small when we call ourselves pimps, and when there are real pimps out on the street with real prostitutes, and we don't think about the big pimp, the real pimp.
And that's the pimp that we are emulating and imitating, because we like that position of power, and we are only, we're drawn to that because nobody don't want to be poor. That I've ever seen anybody who wanted to be poor, but like for example, we mentioned in the opening, the current elections, they're exploiting fear in poor people, or being poorer, because they're already poor, but the poor people being poor, and then they scare others because they don't want to be poor. I mean, don't nobody want to be poor, but the thing about poor people is, particularly in a society like this that's capitalistic, everybody makes money off of poor people, Mama Fiyah.
I wouldn't say everybody, but yeah. I mean, if there were no super rich, there'd be no super poor.
Right.
And that's just the truth. And so, yeah, capitalism, in order for capitalism to work, there have to be poor people.
Got it.
And I watched a documentary, part of a documentary today, and shout out to Yaya of it's Inspired.
The Inspired Life. Yeah.
The Inspired Life. Yaya of Inspired Life, because she was the one who put it up, and I was able to capture it. They said that there's no capitalism without slavery.
Yeah, I can believe it.
And so that joins straight with last week's topic and the week before that, which was the prison industrial complex as modern day slavery.
Right.
And I'll have to find the name of the video, but it was awesome, and we'll share that too. But yeah, poor, poverty pimps.
Right.
So we talk about poverty being a synonym to being poor, Brother Shaq. Is that what we're doing as far as the definition of poverty?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
And
Yeah,
so you said nobody wants to be poor.
nobody.
I made a generalization one class I was having a couple of summers ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about poverty because we were digging into hip hop and hip hop lyrics.
Right.
And so poverty was one of the themes of we were studying Tupac, Keep Your Head Up. We were also studying Nas, Question and Answer.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I said that, everybody in the room was poor. And the whole room erupted in, so who poor?
Yeah.
I'm not poor. And and the way they shunned away from it,
Right,
not realizing that, what's the definition of poor?
Right, right.
Yeah, what's the definition of poverty?
Right. Well, I know poverty, and we've covered that on this show. We've had a lot of things that surrounded poverty. And from a governmental standpoint, it was the gist of it is that you're unable to meet your basic needs.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's a number to it in the U.S. at least. It's about 24,000, a little bit above 24,000 is the quote, and gross annual income is the poverty line,
Mm-hmm.
Which in the city of New Orleans happens to be about 39% of the people. So, yeah, I think poverty is nobody wants to be that, and I think part of the reason is that not nobody. I've been fortunate enough to participate in some things and learn some things over at the People's Institute. Really got into understanding an analysis of why people are poor, because generally we think people are poor because they're lazy,
Right.
or they're uneducated, or they they have too many children, or we think about that. We don't think about people being poor in terms of systems or institutions that are there specifically to keep them in that condition. And so people talk about, especially we've heard the politicians talking about, equality, but no one really talks about equity. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
And
What's the difference, Brother
well,
Shaq?
equality is when everybody is quote unquote equal, like on equal terms or equal legal statuses. But equity is when everybody has what they need. And so when people are on what's called the lower end of the economic status, they need different things to just make it. And so we found that capitalism exploits the fact that those people need that, as well as learning in just through study and research, and even I think in that documentary they explained very well how the colonization and how the first thing is coming in and taking over all the resources so that the people who are already there, who've been enjoying the resources, if they want the resources again, they have to get them from the person who stole them.
Right.
And then, therefore, those people have to do whatever they need to do to get those resources, and the person who controls the resources dictates whatever that is.
Yes. I mean, we talk about diabolical plan all the time, Brother Shaq. And so I think also because of the propaganda in the media, we see third world countries as poor.
Yeah.
We see, and that's on a whole nother level of poor. But the poverty line, and in order to get quote unquote SNAP and Section 8 and all those things, they look at your income
Right.
to see if you're at or below the poverty line.
Right.
And then you qualify for SNAP, you qualify for different things. It used to be Medicaid and some other things, Section 8 and those kind of things. And people don't realize that, yes, you have a home, and yes, you have everything that you need, but in relationship to what else is happening, in relationship to what the rich have, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Right. And then we talk about our brothers and sisters who are desolate and don't even have their basic needs met.
Sure.
And so we talk about those programs. To me, those are the poverty programs. We talk about SNAP and all that. But I know we haven't gotten there yet. But Go ahead.
No, I mean, we there.
Yeah.
We there, Mama Fiyah. I think when people, what do people usually think about when you hear poverty pimp? Because I know all kinds of things come to mind. I think about people like Al Sharpton or people, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times that, preachers are accused of being poverty pimps,
Yeah.
particularly black people. Because whenever you do hear the poverty pimp, it's usually, it's a person and it's a black person. Oftentimes it's a black male, if memory serves me correctly, from a stereotypical standpoint, which is interesting because those are the faces of the people we see. And no one thinks about what you just mentioned about, these systems and how they work and what we were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
We're thinking about people individually. And I think that's the misunderstanding. Our people are emulating and imitating this whole pimping idea because we're exploiting our own people.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So we're exploiting our people because
we're poor.
Because we're poor.
And the thing about it is I think you raised the question before, asking maybe a group of people who raise your hand if you're making money off of poor people.
Yes.
And thinking that equates a poverty pimp, or maybe
right. That's the misunderstanding. Is yes.
Yeah, and so we might as well dig into that.
Sure.
Sure. Go ahead, Brother.
Well, because if you're making money off of poor people, that would mean people need to be poor in order for you to make money. And if that's how you make money, then there's no vested interest in you trying to get these people not to be poor, because in successfully doing that, you would be cutting yourself out of income. So that's one of those kinds of things that would never ever happen. And I mean on a personal or even an institutional type level. So what I'm speaking about in we can go in this direction too. Like you talked about some agencies and governmental things. So like the people, the grant writers out there, the people who write grants and those kinds of organizations, nonprofit organizations that get grants, they are not talking, they're not using the language in that grant saying that they want to help people who are doing very, very well and are highly intelligent and very productive. They're not saying that. They're saying they want to help the marginalized people or high-risk people or at-risk people. Or I even heard somebody say, I had never heard this one, so it stuck in my head over the weekend in one of these trainings, sensitive subpopulation, all these words that refer to poor people. And these are principles taught in the People's Institute. I definitely want to cite them because this isn't my own thinking. Well, it is my own language. They've actually put a language to it that makes it really easy to do the analysis that's universally understood. But the idea of the way we think about poor people, we are socialized to think about people being poor, and that in fact they are there to be exploited. That is their function.
Wow, I mean, I've never thought that way, but I know I'm not rich,
Right.
And I'm not poor. See, that's just the thing. You asked the question, who's making money off of poor people, and you said almost everybody raised their hands.
Definitely.
Because these were teachers,
Yeah,
these were
social workers.
social workers.
Yeah,
well,
people that provide services to poor people.
yeah, but I'm saying this: if you poor, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
If you poor, you trying to help poor people, then you uplifting and empowering yourself and everybody else. I mean, that's the way I believe it, because that's the way I know it. It's because, when I think about helping poor people, would I gotta help the people who are well educated, doing well, rich, or whatever? What help do they need, for one? And two, my job isn't done when my people are not poor anymore. My job is done when my people are well.
Right.
And it's not even done, because there's always something to uplift and empower our people about. So to me, in that answer, I would not raise my hand and say I'm making money off of poor people. I'm taking my part in uplifting and empowering my people, and still being able to take care of my family. So uplifting and empowering my people includes me. Uplift and empower poor people includes me. And ain't nobody rich around here.
Right.
And the rich black people that's quote unquote poverty pimps ain't rich like the richest 1% that is over the whole entire global, financial gaining system or whatever. I mean, so I'm saying we got to look at this thing in perspective. Even if we look at Al Sharpton and even those preachers, the religious preachers that actually are taking people's money under the guise of religion and tithes and all these kind of things,
Sure.
which is wrong. But it's like that poverty mind state that you have to get in. I mean, I don't know. I'm not bought into the fact that black people can be poverty pimps at all.
Right, and really, I don't think that black people are capable of being poverty pimps, even on the other side of that spectrum, when you have the black in the community adaptations of the drug trade and the dope game.
Exactly.
So our people are selling drugs to the woman or man, the people around the corner from around the way, who are then either robbing or turning tricks or doing something to get money to buy drugs from them in the community. So it's like it's. And
where do the drugs come from?
Right, but that's what I'm saying.
Right.
That no one's addressing the fact that the black people don't manufacture the drugs or grow or produce the drugs in that sort of mass industrial way. But that's what I'm saying.
Stay right
we
there.
Stop at that individual, as though that individual is the pariah, that individual is the problem.
Yes.
And that's the misunderstanding. So that's what I'm talking about.
It's such a bigger picture.
This is a systemic thing or an institutional thing. This is big pimping. And that little nickel and dime stuff that our people are doing or that we're doing on the lower end, it emulates the behavior. But what I'm saying is that it still exploits the vulnerable people. It still exploits poor people, and that in order for those people to be exploited, they got to be in that bad condition. Because people who are not in that kind of condition can't be exploited. I don't know anybody that's pimping white people. I don't. I'm not. When I say white people, I don't mean the white woman that's got a drug habit that's strung out on the street. I'm talking about pimping a segment of the population of white people. I don't know anybody who isn't white that isn't doing it. I'm not saying it isn't happening. I'm just saying that black people aren't pimping white people, but black people are attempting to pimp other black people.
Because they're emulating, like you said, the capitalistic system.
Right.
In a capitalistic system, you must have a victim, or you must have a slave, or you must have poor people. And that's what we learned America is. And the great, free, home of the free, land of the brave, the great America, this is the way, people say stuff about America all the time, and I'm just like, wow, you have really drunk the Kool-Aid, y'all, because it's like we're not even looking at the fact that we are emulating thieves, murderers,
rapists,
kidnappers,
and
the thing about it is, it didn't just happen all those years ago. It's happening right now. It's happening as we speak. It's happening here in America. It's happening in South America. It's happening in Africa. It's happening in Asia. Everywhere, y'all.
Everywhere that European has colonized. That is big pimping.
That's big pimping. That's what we're talking about here, because we can point fingers and say, Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton and the preacher who bought a jet and all these other type of things. But y'all, if it wasn't for the capitalistic system,
well, there wouldn't even be a desire for them to do that. That's the whole point. That capitalism, just for our listeners, if you're not up on capitalism, in simple terms of capitalism is about private ownership in a private ownership driven economy, as opposed to a state-owned or government-run kind of a thing. So capitalism permits people to become extremely wealthy, and simultaneously permits other people to become extremely poor. And
it permits people from becoming extremely wealthy?
Say again?
It's supposed to permit that?
It permits.
Oh, permits.
Yeah,
I'm
not
sorry.
permit. It permits. And I apologize if I said that.
No, you didn't.
It
said
permits just by systemic, because with private ownership, you could own as much as you want, as opposed to a government
as long as you've stolen everything before.
Well, exactly.
That's the part of it that I don't think we are understanding as a people.
No.
Y'all, we think, being in relationship with young people helps me out a lot because it helps me see the box or the paradigm that our young people are in. Young people don't understand all the interworkings of capitalism, imperialism, globalization, colonization.
No.
They don't understand all of those interworkings, and so they just see what they see, and they see what they intake and what the propaganda has shown them.
Right.
And that is that white people are better because they have all the resources.
Definitely.
They don't understand how they got all the
they got
resources and continue
and
to
what they
have
do to
all the
maintain
resources.
that,
It's
yeah.
highway robbery. And we never had a chance. But if we understand it, then that would make more sense when you say, brother and sister, I need y'all to stick together. Brother and sister, we need unity. Brother and sister, you need to start your own business.
Right.
Brother and sister, you need to buy from black people and black people only. Brother and sister, you need to create what it is that we need as a people. Brothers, they would understand that better if they understood what's really happening to us right now.
Right.
And what's happening to us right now and what has happened to us. And happening to black and brown and colored people all over the world.
Well, I think it's important to note in that, Mama Fiyah, that what has, by virtue of this arrangement of racism, black people and brown people are viewed as tools to create white wealth. And that's all over the world. And they've been running, and we know globally from studying history, world history, they've been running the same game all over the world. And because it's very effective. But to the point that black people are socialized into thinking that it's supposed to be that way also. See, we're complicit in this thing because we think. So, here's what I mean. Why is it that black people don't support other black people financially? Why is it black people don't want to shop at black businesses and do business? Why is that?
It's all the same thing. It's all white supremacy and racism, Brother Shaq.
It is, but it's internalized racial inferiority
self-hate.
Because black people also buy into the idea that black people are tools to help white people, and so when another black person is saying, no, buy from me, we're thinking, but you shouldn't have nothing.
You shouldn't have nothing, and what you got is not as good as the white folks around there anyway.
Right.
And then y'all be acting funny, y'all don't be answering the phone, y'all don't be returning phone calls, and then they water tastes better, their ice is colder, you know what I mean?
And that's what allows this cycle to continue. It's the internalization that we've done. So
that's what poverty pimps, not to cut you off, but that's what the quote-unquote poverty pimps have done. Go ahead.
Right, and so the poverty pimps have created that dynamic, and now anyone that comes along that can understand that will exploit that fact. You see what I'm saying? That right there, more than anything else, in my view, is precisely why this cycle of violence against poor people and criminalization of black people continues, because black people and brown people have bought into it too, and instead of trying to break away from it, we're trying to be more like it, in our small spheres. And so, what we say, man, I gotta get mine, dog. I gotta get mine. So we
even calling each other pimps, man. I'm pimping.
Right. And that helps our self-esteem.
Helps our self-esteem. It helps us think that we're in a game, y'all.
Yes.
We're
in the game.
The game is much bigger than we could even imagine.
The game is on our head.
And so exactly when we understand just the tip of the iceberg of that game, then we could start with our own consumption and really tailoring and cutting down, these brand loyalties, Brother Shaq. That's been on my heart. Like, it's so sad that, and I don't want to take a turn too much, but we're doing this. We're doing this. We're saying that you are valuable, sister, if you have on a Gucci belt.
Right.
But you don't understand when you bust your butt to pay for a Gucci belt, wherever that comes from.
Whatever you're doing to get that money.
Okay? And a lot of the time, you think you pimping the system.
Right.
Because you got a check, you get a couple of checks for a couple of them children.
Right.
You get SNAP, you get Section 8, and you get all these things. So and then you might have a dope boy at the house.
Right.
And then you might be, prostituting on the side just to be real, to make sure you got, and then you buy that Gucci belt. Because when you put the Gucci belt on, you feel like, okay, I am somebody,
Right.
you know? And you don't understand, sister, that that money could have been taken to grow some crops,
Right.
you know? To grow some crops for your children to eat, or to put and buy some land for yourself, or whatever case may be. But, and so the brand loyalties component, it needs to cease and desist, like right now. Everyone, you know, he was saying, you know, I always, man, I got to have my polo. I got to, because it's like, you know, and you going to Marshalls, because you know they got it there, and it might have a little something on the collar, but it's all good, because you know you can't afford to go in Saks Fifth Avenue or whatever, but you still need that brand name to make you feel like you somebody. And then you can't wear Africa on your chest, because that's, you know, that's Poe. You can't, you know, you can't, Lord heaven forbid, you get to go get something secondhand or go to the thrift store or whatever the case may be. We have to be shaken up out of this thing, and so things are going to get worse and worse and worse and worse until our people wake up. And you know, I'm learning something new every day about who I am in this world. You know, I'm learning, you know, I'm learning not only the things that happen that we cannot control, but I'm learning like about my own personal magic and my own personal. So if I put thoughts and a lot of energy into clothes that I wear or brand names that I get, then I'm wasting a lot of my magic there.
Definitely.
I'm wasting a lot of my power on shallow, extremely shallow ways of spending resources. And so I just had to say that, y'all. We are very confused as a people about how we're going to get through this. We so busy fighting each other, and we so busy not understanding that if we're together, we're more powerful. We pimping each other, not even realizing that the real pimp, you know, is you know, really out for blood.
And we're not really pimping. I mean, because
no, it's not. It's not happening.
We know Brother pimps ain't nothing but what? You know what I'm saying? Like, I know we can't say that on the air, but
we can.
But pimps ain't. That's all because there's always a bigger pimp, and that's the nature of the game, and people understand what we're referring to when we say that. I think that your point was right on target, because for capitalism to be effective and for pimping to really take place, you have to have a consumption-based environment.
Yes.
See, somebody's got to be consuming.
Yes.
That's what drives them to spend. So when you create the demand for something, and you can supply it, well then you, like they say, you corner the market or you own the market, and that means people have to pay your price just because they want that thing that you produce. And that the reason why they want that thing is because it makes them feel better, whether we're talking about dope, clothes, hair, nails.
Come on, Brother Shane.
Whatever we're talking about, it's consumption based. And so the idea of being in poverty or being poor has to do with lack. So if you're lackful, and you're going to want other things, and they can't come from you because you ain't got nothing, and people who are like you are just like you, they ain't got nothing, worth nothing. So you got to go over there where the other people are to get some of what they got, because that's where the value is. But in the process, you enrich them and make yourself even poorer. And that's the way it's designed to work. But we're still being a tool. And I don't want to go too far without giving out the call-in number. The call-in number is 504-260-9265. Again, that call-in number is 504-260-9265. Big shout out to our Facebook Live people. What's happening? Thank y'all for tuning in. We're going to go ahead, lines are already lit up. Let me go ahead and catch this call. Thank you for holding. Welcome to the True Love Movement. What's happening? Right. And it's happening. I mean, I don't want us to tell a story that's so dismal. It really is happening. It is happening in pockets. I tell you, be encouraged about what's going to happen, because many of our people are already working on this, and they have been working on it for some time, and very deliberately off the radar. They understand that. I mean, the people who are really, really doing the work aren't talking about it on the radio or on, other kinds of media. But it's definitely happening, definitely happening. Right. Yeah, please be careful, brother. Right.
Come on.
Definitely.
It's already too late. I mean, I feel like we've got
It's
a
past
long,
critical.
long way to go. Yeah, this is a state of emergency, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes. No. And we don't need it if we handle our business today. I mean, that's the whole point of it. We don't know how many tomorrows we got left, but what will our legacy be? You know, right on. That's right. Indeed, brother, we thank you, and we hope that you'll tell others to tune in and join us and call in and build with us as you did. Right
All
on.
right, thank you, brother.
We thank you, dear brother. All right.
You know, the brother brought up such a good idea or thought. It's like he's saying that this is the stuff that they said back then, but what happened?
Right.
What happened? Why wasn't it enough to take hold in our communities and enough to take hold to where we're teaching our young people what to do?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I know back in the day they had homeschools. I know
Definitely.
that. I know back in the day people had community gardens. This is nothing new. But what happened? And don't forget that as soon as stuff start working out in front in on Front Street,
Right.
they send somebody down from the Alphabet Boys to come see about what you doing
Right.
and throw salt and disperse. And sometimes, use the prison industrial complex or, all kind of tools they use to make sure there's no rebellion.
Sure. Sure.
So
There's
keep
no
your stuff,
upset. Yeah.
and really it's
Keep it on
on
the
you.
cool.
Just like True Love Movement's mission is to uplift and empower our people, to love themselves, right? We understand that it starts with self.
Mm-hmm.
Even consumerism, brand loyalty,
Right.
pimping, or understanding what capitalism is, all those things, it happens with us, personally in ourselves. Because
Personally
that's
first.
first, it has to happen first.
Got to happen.
So that you can understand what changes or
Right.
how you can affect change.
Right.
Really,
Right.
the only person that you can truly change is
Is
yourself. Now, you can inspire
And
change
influence.
and then join in with people of the same like mind and become powerful that way. But start with you.
Right.
I always talk about evaluating what's going on with you. A lot of people want to talk that talk, Brother Shaq, and say, our people need to do
But we
this, and our
always
people
on
need to
our
do that,
people
and
need to do
I did
something.
this for our people, whatever.
Right.
What you doing for you, brother?
Right.
How are you disconnected from the system?
Right.
How are you, slowing down on your consumerism or making sure that just in case, in case of, systems being broken down, will you be able to survive, brothers
Right.
and sisters? And that's just the truth out of it. And that's been the message all year long, Brother Shaq. All of 2016 has been the same message.
That's about getting your mind right. 'Cause
Getting
when
your mind
when
right.
You're saying that way, you're thinking about those things clearly. And don't misunderstand. Part of what I think has been done deliberately for our people to minimize the power of or the potential power of what you're suggesting is that if you're thinking about yourself, somehow you're being selfish, and that's disrespectful or that's lacking regard for other people. And that's not the case at all. But an intelligent person understands that if I am to be of service and to be of use and to add value in spaces, then I have to be coming with something to contribute. And in order for me to come with something to contribute, I'd have to develop something that I can exchange. So there's a time well spent in cultivating whatever your genius is and how that fits into the spoke or the wheel of our people, and then being able to do that and then teach that.
Yeah.
Like that's the proper thing to do. What really is happening, Mama Fiyah, and I think that kind of thinking, we've been socialized into that because of that idea that we are powerless and we don't offer anything and we get everything else from outside of ourselves.
Big pimping.
Is necessary because of the codependence. See, you gotta have that codependence built in for the consumption to work.
Yes.
So people gotta, so in basic capitalism, we're talking about like the iPhone, that we talked about that. You gotta hate the iPhone 6. The idea was for you to hate the iPhone 6 as soon as the iPhone 7 came out. That you didn't want that iPhone 6 no more. Because that's old, that's played out. You want the iPhone 7.
Brand
That's the
loyalty.
idea. And so when you do that, that means they get rich because you hate what you have and you want what you don't have. And those who are creating these things and producing them, they reap the benefits. They got it on the iPhone 6, they got it on the 5, they got it on, you know what I mean? That's the idea, and you're feeling better about yourself, and you really got played.
Really got played. And then let's look at the bigger picture. When the iPhone 7 comes out, why your iPhone 6 and iPhone 5 start glitching out some kind of way?
Right.
Now that's bigger than just our brand loyalty.
Definitely.
Saying, we're going to really manipulate this here so they're going to want, you don't have to.
Yeah, because it'll be logical.
Okay, listen. The pimp and the prostitute relationship, you just talked about dependency.
Mm-hmm.
I often wonder why the prostitute, I understand it's low self-esteem to be able to, to have to be a prostitute.
Right.
Or you might have a drug addiction or that
Right.
kind of thing because they get you turned out and understandable.
Definitely.
But I'm wondering why a prostitute
Need a pimp.
And why, because of that.
Right.
And so when we think about big pimping,
Right.
when we think about the United States government, we think about bigger than that. We think about the 1% of the population
Right.
that owns,
The monetary fund.
the bankers, exactly.
Banksters.
So how does that happen? It happens when we are dependent on a system, y'all.
Right.
Straight up.
And they created like that.
It's created like
just
that.
Like,
pull away.
Just like the pimp or whoever might turn the woman out or give us some dope.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like when maybe she decides, you know what, I don't want to go out there selling my body no more. He said, no. Because you got to keep this money coming in.
I love you, girl.
Why don't you take this? It'll make it easier for you to go out there and do that. And so she does, and then she goes there, she makes the money, she feels better in that moment. It becomes a coping mechanism, and there the pimp is right there when she needs another hit to get her back right. He's there providing the fix. So he's created that codependent relationship now where she don't want to do nothing without him because he's got something that she doesn't, and she will go out there and do whatever she needs to do to get the money to bring it back to him to get that. And that is the ultimate exploitation of another human being.
And so put that on a grander scale.
Yes.
The grander scale, but even on a grander scale, the huge understanding of the universe, the universe and life, that's even bigger.
Definitely.
And so tap in, tap into who you are. Tap in deeply into your power, your own personal power. Because even through all of this, even through understanding this, and really just the tip of the iceberg, Brother Shaq, I understand. I've been studying a long time, and I do get it, the tip of the iceberg. I am even more powerful than that.
Definitely.
When I am well. When I am well. I know that I can inspire change because I am well.
Right.
And so black people, when we are well, because I know, we have a problem with self-esteem, wellness all across the board. White people too.
Definitely.
So when we understand wellness, we understand who we are.
Right.
You really,
black
and to me, I was telling this to a client the other day, when mind, body, and spirit are in the same place. When you're not saying, well, my mind is telling me the right thing to do, but my body, my body is telling me this, and my heart is telling me that, and all of these different things. It's like that you ain't well. That means you over here, over there. When you are in line, when your mind, tell your spirit, tell your body, when you realize it's all one thing, and all the power comes through that. When you are well, and so that's the mission of True Love Movement.
Right.
And when we talk about get your mind right, y'all, we're talking about when your mind is right, your body just seems to come together, and your spirit is never far separated from any of that. So that's the mission of True Love Movement, is to understand who you are, black man, is to understand who you are, black woman, is to understand who you are, black child.
That's right. Loving, when you do truly love yourself, your actions will take care of that. You will act in accordance with loving yourself. And when you encounter people who are like you in the same condition, you will extend that same love to them because it's logical. You will see yourself over there and treat yourself, your other self, accordingly. That is a beautiful, beautiful existence. that we can actually create in the midst of all of this exploitation and poverty pimping that's happening around us. Because if we don't, we're gonna continue to be a tool of our own oppression.
Well,
That's the shame.
right, and it's a powerless position.
Very
You know, but
powerless
when you
position.
love yourself and you clear, you well, you feel powerful. You feel like we can win. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And we will.
And
We
we
have
do
to
win.
win.
We do.
You know, we have to for the sake of our children, our children. Like you said, Brother Shaq, our legacy.
Right.
And so I have to do this work.
And even if we're not perfect exactly where we are right now, because we're all evolving,
All growing,
and we're all
ever
growing,
growing.
and we're all struggling with making mistakes and contradictions and all these kinds of things. When it's all said and done, and you leave this particular journey, and you're done with this mission, generations down the road, you know, let it have made a difference and matter that you were here, that you did something that moved these things along, you know, in the forward direction. I say, you know, to think about what we're doing today and how that's going to benefit our tomorrow.
Well, support True Love Movement because I know every day I'm inspiring change.
Yes.
Even if, you know, and no matter what level of change we're talking about, every day I'm inspiring change, not only in myself, but my children. And not only those people, but the people my children touch. But let me tell you, my clients, my young people that I work with,
Yes.
my parents, you know, just like I'm speaking on this mic, this is how I speak to them. I
Right.
speak to them, and I never miss an opportunity to drop a jewel on them about who they are
That's
and
right.
the power they possess. You know, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. We just, you know, I never give up, Brother Shay. I
No.
never give up.
I mean that's why they call it work, Mama Fiyah.
Come on.
It requires that. It requires that commitment of us to see it through, even through the challenges. Our people are beautiful people. You know, when we're well, we're dynamite. You know, and that's the key. You know, the codependency is the one thing that's keeping us in this situation. We have been made codependent. I think back recently, we were at a place with people who would be considered poor people, and I remember those people when they came over to the table. You were explaining how they wanted the shirts and everything for free. They couldn't understand how you could be charging for that. Like, don't you know you black and I'm supposed to get everything for free? Like it was that kind of a connotation. Only because they had been socialized into thinking that somebody else should be providing them with whatever it is that they have.
Also told us, sister, I'm just like you. That means if I sell this shirt, then I'm able to put some gas in my car. If I sell this shirt, I'm able to feed my children tonight.
Right.
Like, you don't understand. You think because you see these tables lined up in here, every one of them is a nonprofit that's getting buku grants to give you stuff for free.
Right.
Well, we're different. We are not a nonprofit. We are, you know, we don't get no grants for nothing. That means if we sell a shirt, that goes directly into our programs.
Right.
That goes directly into my children's mouths.
Right.
You know, and I still I told her this very thing, and she still was like, "But wait a minute, how much it costs?
Right.
$10. Oh, What you got for free? You got anything on your table for free?" And so I just kept bringing it until I took everything off the table, except for some other thing. You know, took everything off and put it up.
But it was miraculous because this wasn't a young person that was new to the world. So
she was our elder.
So this is
Queen
somebody
Mama.
who's an elder who's been socialized this way and lived her whole life this way, and again, is still dependent upon, you know, something or someone else to provide it. So that just lets you know what could she possibly be teaching or imparting have taught to, you know, those that have come from her.
Right,
you see what I'm
you
saying?
And her grandchildren.
So this is how this becomes generational. When you start looking at that kind of thing, it's not, even though being enslaved was 151 or so years ago, it's not really that long when you think about how generationally we've handed down the same thinking, the same teachings, and we've replicated this over and over. That is the same way we can replicate the new and improved existence. We can replicate it, but we must first turn this corner. And also, in turning the corner, I want to catch this last call. Holden, thank you for calling, Holden. What's happening? What's happening? Yes. Sure. Sure.
Come on.
Sure. Right. Wow. Wow.
Black supremacy.
Wow. Wow.
Come on, sister.
Well, I can tell you this, and we certainly appreciate you calling and listening, and also doing that work with the younger sister and other people, and even challenging your own generation. Well, here's what I'll tell you. You can tell her the truth that it didn't start with y'all. That we've been tumbling for a long time. You know, we have to understand that we inherited a lot of the mess that we have. You know, that's right.
Thank you.
That's
All
right.
thanks,
We
brother.
thank you.
And the thing about it is, she needs to understand what white supremacy is.
Right.
When she can understand the myth of quote unquote white supremacy,
Right.
then she'll understand how black people can't be quote unquote supremacists.
Oh, yeah.
And let me tell you something, there should be no supremacy.
Right.
You know, we are good, and certain things that science will prove that, you know, we're great at, you know? And so just let that naturally happen where, you know, black people are able to rise the way they're supposed to rise and be where they're supposed to be
Right.
in the world, you know? And black supremacy means, I mean, to me, supremacy means that everybody else is inferior to you. You are the, you know, end all be all
Right.
of the population, but then to create a system
Right.
in every system that
Yes.
reinforces it, black people are unable to do that. That's just like black people being racist.
Right.
It can't happen.
We don't wield that amount of power inside of the construct because we're in the construct.
She needs to study white supremacy.
She definitely needs to study white supremacy, learn about racism, and I would tell you, Mama, have her and anyone who's listening, contact the People's Institute for Survival and Beyond. Excellent resource on learning the analysis of racism and the racial constructs, and they've been doing it for 35 years. It is a miraculous organization started by Ron Chisholm and Jim Dunn, and it has grown into something very, very profound that really helps do anti-racist work all over this world for black people, and most importantly for white people. There are anti-racist white people that are teaching white people about this kind of thing because we know that's their responsibility. You need to get your
And let me tell you, these young people have been brainwashed, sister.
Yes.
These young people really want the we are the world type of understanding of the world. They want to say that there is no color. They want to say we are post-racial,
Right.
that everybody is the same, but they don't understand. That's through media, through propaganda, and through other ways, even through the education system. They have, quote unquote, learned all these things, but these things are not real.
Not
and
true.
so let her see how white supremacy operates in her own life. And give her some YouTube videos to watch and some things to study if she's interested. But she's too busy pointing fingers. And see, that's the gist of this whole conversation.
Right.
Is that, you know, we too busy calling ourselves pimps and trying to pimp each other instead of realizing who's the biggest pimp.
Yeah, we're being pimped.
Being pimped and who's the biggest pimp. So,
Right.
you know, y'all stop fighting each other because of our different ideas. Stop fighting each other over ideas. It's time for us to band together and really be powerful together so that we can win this thing.
For all those that will, that is the order of the day. And it's been a tremendously fast hour, Mama Fiyah. Is it?
Shout out to Aaron.
Shout out to
Thanks, brother.
our
We love you.
fantastic engineer, Brother Aaron over there, and all of our listeners and everyone who's tuned into the Facebook Live video, and for everybody who will later on and share it and comment. We do appreciate your feedback. We're not afraid of feedback. As a matter of fact, we like it because we like to know you're in it with us. You know what I'm saying? And Mama Fiyah, you want to say something?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to remind people to like True Love Movement on social media, all of the social medias we are present,
Right.
and to also go to the True Love Movement webpage to find out more. The way you can support True Love Movement and this work that we're doing here is to share the work that we're doing.
Share the work. And book it for yourself.
Book it for yourself, and then if you're part of an organization that you know you need this information, please book us.
And please, we're black, value us. You know what I'm saying? That's it. I can't make it no plainer than that we are black and we are doing this work, and it's logical work for black people to do.
That's right.
Value us, and then in this kind of environment, you value it with work, with opportunity and resources.
That's right.
And also want to make just one quick announcement. You may have a couple of announcements too, but Ross Boo, I talked to Ross Boo today, Jagged Beginnings too.
Love them.
Now, actually, that's still happening. He wanted me to let everybody know it's happening, but he's not at the shop anymore. You can catch him online on Facebook and Ross Boo, or at Big Ross Boo on Instagram, and you can order from him online in terms of merchandise,
yes.
clothing, oils, dashikis, and what have you. But he's coming real soon with Ross Boo Barbecue.
All right.
He'll be doing catering, special events, intimate gatherings, some pop-ups.
Yes.
We talked about that too as well. That's going to be real nice. But the brother's still in the game. It's a beautiful family. He's been a real strong force here in our community, and we want to make sure we're supporting this brother wherever he is about town. And
yeah, there's a sister circle
okay.
happening tonight. I think it's Sisterhood, the Power of Sisterhood.
Okay.
It's happening tonight. If you are interested, you can get at me on email. I'll send you the information. It's a sister circle for the full moon happening tonight.
Powerful.
Yeah, that's right.
Ooh,
Sisters are going to get together tonight. So if you want more information, just email me, Ayana, AYANNA, at truelovemovement.com.
That's right. And I'm Brother Shaq. And before we do get out of here, last words, Mama Fiyah, about this pimping and all this foolishness that we are calling ourselves and living this way and holding that up and aspiring to exploit our people. What you got to say about that?
I mean, I said it. I think that we have to really look on a macro level and stop trying to hurt and disrespect and pimp each other,
Yeah.
and really understand that the big pimp is the one that is controlling all of the systems in America and beyond. And so in order to fight that big old big pimp,
Right.
then we have to band together as a people, love each other, love yourself, and love each other.
And break that codependence on our oppressor.
That's right.
That's it. That's how they got us right there. And so we can change that. And so without any further ado, I'm Brother Shaq.
And Mama Fiyah.
For the True Love Movement Hour, we give thanks.
Wholeness.